longer calling the shots. In just 34 seconds, one comment would turn a friendly interview into the most shocking meltdown daytime television has ever witnessed. The studio lights were bright that morning. The audience was buzzing with excitement. Everyone knew who was coming. Everyone had been waiting for this moment. The cameras were rolling. The producers were ready. And Joy Behar sat at the table with that signature smile, ready to welcome her high-profile guest. She walked out to massive applause. The former royal. The woman who had captured headlines for years. Meghan Markle stepped onto that stage like she owned it. The audience stood up. They cheered. They clapped. But something felt different. Something in the air suggested this wasn't going to be just another celebrity interview. Joy started warm. She always does. Welcome. Welcome. We are so thrilled to have you here today. The audience clapped again. Meghan smiled, but it wasn't a real smile. It was tight, controlled, like she was already preparing for battle. "Thank you for having me," Meghan said. Her voice was sweet, but there was an edge underneath it. Joy dove right in. "So, let's talk about your life now. You've been through so much. How are you doing? How's the family?" Simple questions. Easy questions. The kind any host would ask. But Meghan's face changed. "You know, Joy, I think people need to understand something first. The narrative around me has been incredibly unfair." Joy nodded. Sure. But I'm asking about you. How are you?" "I can't answer that," Meghan interrupted, "without addressing the constant attacks I face from the media. From people who don't understand what it's like to be in my position." The audience got quiet. Joy's eyebrows went up just a little. "Okay, well, we can definitely talk about that. But you know, a lot of people would say you've also had incredible privilege and opportunities." Wrong thing to say. Meghan's expression hardened. "Privilege? You want to talk to me about privilege? Joy, do you have any idea what I've been through?" Joy kept her cool. She's a professional. She's been doing this for decades. "I'm sure it's been difficult, but you also chose a very public life. You've done interviews, podcasts, a whole documentary series. You've shared your story repeatedly." "Because I have to," Meghan's voice got louder. "I have to defend myself against the lies." The other hosts at the table exchanged glances. The audience was completely silent now. This wasn't going the way anyone expected. Joy tried to redirect. "Look, I think we all have compassion for what you've experienced. But today, can we maybe focus on the positive? Your new projects? What you're working on?" Meghan laughed. But it wasn't a happy laugh. It was bitter. "Of course you want to move on. Nobody wants to hear the truth. Nobody wants to acknowledge what's really happening." "That's not fair," Joy said. Her voice was still calm, still professional. "We invited you here to have a conversation. A real conversation. But you're coming in very defensive." "Defensive?" Meghan leaned forward. "I'm being honest. Maybe that's something you're not used to on this show." The audience gasped. You could hear it ripple through the studio. Even the cameramen looked shocked. Joy's smile disappeared. "Excuse me? What exactly are you implying about my show?" "I'm saying that maybe, just maybe, the media needs to take some responsibility. Shows like this one. You sit here and you judge people. You criticize. You make assumptions. And you have no idea what it's really like." One of the other hosts tried to jump in. "I don't think that's what we do here at all. We have conversations. We discuss different viewpoints." But Meghan wasn't listening. She turned to Joy directly. "You've made jokes about me before. I've seen the clips. You think I don't watch? You think I don't see how you talk about me when I'm not here?" Joy stayed composed. Impressive, really, given what was happening. "We discuss public figures and current events. That's what we do. If you're in the public eye, You're part of that conversation. And yes, sometimes we make jokes. It's a talk show. So I'm just a joke to you. Meghan's voice was rising. My pain is funny? My struggles are entertainment? Nobody said that, Joy replied firmly. But you can't come on a show, attack the host, attack the format, and expect everyone to just sit here and take it. The tension was unbelievable. The producers in the control room were probably panicking. Should they cut to commercial? Should they let this play out? This was live television. This was actually happening. Meghan stood up slightly in her chair. You know what your problem is, Joy. You're part of the system. You're part of the machine that tears women down, especially women like me. Joy's patience was wearing thin. You could see it. Women like you? What does that mean? Because from where I'm sitting, you're a woman who has had every opportunity, every platform, every chance to tell your story. And you have, repeatedly. At some point, people are allowed to have opinions about that. Opinions? Meghan's voice was sharp now. You call what you do opinions? You spread rumors. You perpetuate false narratives. You contribute to a toxic culture. The audience didn't know whether to gasp or applaud or stay silent. This was beyond uncomfortable. This was a full-blown confrontation. Joy leaned back in her chair. Okay, I've been very patient here, but let me be clear. You agreed to come on this show. You knew what this show was. You've watched it, apparently. So what did you expect? Did you think you were going to come here and lecture us? Scold us? Tell us how to do our jobs? Maybe someone needs to, Meghan shot back. Maybe someone needs to tell you that what you do has consequences. Real consequences for real people. Another host tried again. I think we can all agree that media responsibility is important. But Meghan, you're also a public figure who has courted media attention. You've done paid interviews. You've released content. You can't have it both ways. Meghan turned on her. Don't you dare. Don't you dare try to silence me by saying I asked for this. Nobody asks to be treated the way I've been treated. Joy had enough. Nobody is silencing you. You're on national television right now, speaking freely. But here's the thing. You don't get to come here and attack us personally. You don't get to insult this show. Insult me and expect us to just smile and nod. So that's it? Meghan's voice dripped with sarcasm. Disagree with Joy Behar and you're out? No, Joy said firmly. Be rude. Be disrespectful. Refuse to actually have a conversation. And yeah, we have a problem. The energy in the room was electric. Everyone knew something was about to break. Meghan stood up fully. Now, you know what? I don't need this. I came here in good faith. I came here to share my truth. And all you want to do is tear me down like everyone else. Joy didn't stand. She didn't need to. You came here with an agenda. You came here looking for a fight. And I'm sorry. But that's not what we do. We have guests on who want to engage, who want to talk, who want to listen as much as they speak. Listen? Meghan laughed again. That same bitter laugh. Listen to what? Do you tell me how I should feel? How I should react to being attacked constantly? Nobody is telling you how to feel, Joy said. Her voice was steady, strong. But you're not the only person who has ever faced criticism. You're not the only person who has ever been in the public eye. And acting like you're the only victim in the world is not going to win you sympathy. That was the moment. That was when Meghan's face went from angry to furious. How dare you? Her voice was low now, dangerous. How dare you minimize what I've been through? You have no idea. You sit here in your comfortable chair with your comfortable life, and you judge me. Joy stood up now. My comfortable life? I've worked in this industry for over 40 years. I've faced criticism, sexism, ageism, every ism you can think of. But I don't go around acting like I'm the only person who has ever struggled. The audience was frozen. Cameras kept rolling. Meghan grabbed her microphone off her lapel. I'm done. I'm done with this show. I'm done with you. I'm done with all of it. Joy crossed her arms. Then, I guess we're done here. Oh, we're definitely done, Meghan said. She turned to the audience. You all deserve better than this. You deserve hosts who actually care about truth, who actually care about people. Joy didn't flinch. And you deserve to understand that respect goes both ways. You can't demand it without giving it. Meghan started walking off the set, but she couldn't resist one more shot. She turned back. You know what your real problem is, Joy? You're jealous. You're bitter. You've been doing this so long that you forgot what it's like to actually stand for something. The audience gasped again. This was beyond anything anyone had expected. Joy's response was perfect. Calm, measured, devastating. And your problem, Meghan, is that you think being a victim is a personality. It's not. At some point, you have to take responsibility for your own choices, for your own actions, and for how you treat people. Meghan's face went red. You have no right to speak to me that way. I have every right, Joy said. This is my show. This is my table. And you came here as a guest. A guest who has been nothing but hostile and disrespectful from the moment you sat down. Because you attacked me, Meghan shouted. I asked you how you were doing, Joy shouted back. And there it was. Joy Behar, who almost never loses her cool, raising her voice. I asked you a simple, kind question, and you turned it into an attack on this entire show. The producers finally made a decision. You could see someone signaling from off camera. But before they could cut away, Meghan had one more thing to say. You're all the same. All of you. The media, the press, shows like this. You build people up just to tear them down. Well, I won't be torn down. Not by you. Not by anyone. Joy's voice was ice cold now. Nobody is tearing you down, Meghan. You're doing that all by yourself. Meghan stared at her. For a moment, it looked like she might say something else. Something even worse. But instead, she ripped off her microphone completely, threw it on the chair, and stormed off the set. The audience sat in stunned silence. The other hosts looked at each other, completely unsure of what to do. And Joy Behar, professional that she is, took a deep breath, sat back down, and looked directly into the camera. Well, she said, that happened. The audience erupted. Some people were cheering for Joy. Some people were gasping at what they just witnessed. Everyone was talking at once. Joy held up her hand. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll try to process whatever that was. As the show cut to commercial, you could see Joy shaking her head. Not in anger, in disbelief. In the kind of shock that comes from experiencing something completely unprecedented. Backstage, Meghan was reportedly yelling at her team, blaming them for booking her on the show. Blaming Joy for being unfair. Blaming everyone but herself for how the interview had exploded. Meanwhile, back at the table, Joy was being comforted by her co-hosts. You handled that perfectly, one of them said. You gave her every chance. And she had. Joy had been patient. She had been professional. She had tried to steer the conversation back on track multiple times, but Meghan wasn't interested in a conversation. She was interested in a platform, a place to vent her grievances, a place to position herself as a victim. When the show came back from commercial, Joy addressed what happened head on. Look, we invited a guest here today who clearly had some things she needed to get off her chest. Unfortunately, she chose to do that by attacking us, attacking this show, and attacking me personally. And I want to be clear about something. We welcome all kinds of guests here. We welcome different viewpoints. We welcome honest disagreement. What we don't welcome is personal attacks and disrespect. The audience applauded, long and loud. Joy continued, "I've been doing this a long time. I've had contentious interviews. I've had guests who disagreed with me. But I've never had a guest come on and refuse to engage in an actual conversation, refuse to answer questions, and instead just launch into attacks." More applause. "So I want to apologize to you, our audience, for what you just witnessed. That's not the kind of show we run. That's not the kind of conversation we want to have. But sometimes you give someone a platform and they show you exactly who they are." The other hosts nodded in agreement. One spoke up, "And Joy, you were incredibly gracious. You tried so many times to bring it back to a real conversation." "I did try," Joy said. "But at a certain point, you have to recognize when someone isn't here in good faith. And that's okay. That's their choice. But it's also our choice to say, that's not acceptable." The rest of the show continued, with the remaining co-hosts discussing what had transpired. Viewers at home were already flooding social media with their reactions. The clip was going viral in real time. People were taking sides, but overwhelmingly, the response was support for Joy. Because here's the truth. Joy Behar is a professional. She's spent decades in this industry. She knows how to handle difficult guests. She knows how to navigate tricky conversations. And she knows how to stand her ground without losing her composure. Meghan, on the other hand, came in with an agenda. She came in ready to fight. She came in expecting to be attacked, so she attacked first. And when Joy tried to have a normal, respectful conversation, Meghan interpreted every question as a personal assault. That's the thing about playing the victim. Eventually, people stop buying it. Eventually, people start to see through it. And when you go on national television and treat a respected host with contempt and disrespect, people notice. Joy gave Meghan every opportunity, every chance to reset, every moment to take a breath and actually engage. But Meghan was too focused on her narrative, too focused on her grievances, too focused on making sure everyone knew how wrong she felt. And in doing so, she proved exactly what Joy said. At some point, you have to take responsibility for your own actions, for how you treat people, for the energy you bring into a room. Meghan brought hostility. Joy responded with professionalism. Meghan brought attacks. Joy responded with boundaries. Meghan brought drama. Joy responded with dignity. That's the difference between someone who has earned their place through decades of hard work and someone who feels entitled to respect without giving it. The interview that was supposed to be a friendly conversation turned into one of the most dramatic moments in talk show history. Not because Joy wanted it to, but because Meghan couldn't help herself. She couldn't resist the urge to fight, to argue, to position herself as the wronged party. And in the end, she walked off that set having accomplished nothing except proving Joy's point. That respect is a two-way street, that you can't demand to be treated with kindness while treating others with contempt. That being a guest on someone's show is a privilege, not a right. Joy Behar didn't kick Meghan Markle off The View. Meghan kicked herself off, with every hostile comment, with every personal attack, with every refusal to engage in actual dialogue. She made the choice to burn that bridge, to walk away, to throw her microphone and storm off like a child having a tantrum. And Joy sat back down, took a breath, and continued doing what she's always done. Being a professional, being honest, being someone who stands up for herself and her show without losing her grace. That's what happens when entitlement meets experience. When someone who thinks they deserve special treatment runs into someone who has earned their position through actual work. When someone who sees themselves as above criticism meets someone who knows that nobody is above being held accountable for their behavior. The whole thing lasted less than 15 minutes. But in those